Hey, Kothorix here. Today we're going to talk about some random stuff, and today I have Kothorix with me. Even though I'm supposed to be playing Kothorix myself, I kind of fucked up this intro. Hello!
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. It's me, Corey Coyote, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah,
But you could probably already tell by the title.
yeah, yeah. People, well, I don't know. Some people don't read the titles, and then again, some people only read the titles and then don't watch the video. So you never
Yeah,
know.
they see me and they're definitely not gonna. This is probably gonna be your poorest rated video yet.
I don't know. People like controversy, so they might click on it and be like, "Ooh, what are these two gonna say today?"
Mm. Who am I going to be triggering today? I am excited.
All right, so Corey, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience and tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Most certainly, because I need some new subscribers and my channel is dying. Hello, my name is Corey Coyote. I am the guy that says bought incorrectly, apparently. I run a gaming channel called Damn Dog Games, and I say a lot of mean shit online, and I have a lot of fun while doing it and playing GTA. My channel is Damn Dog Games, obviously, because I think I'm the only furry in the YouTube community that doesn't have a YouTube channel that's named after their own name. I have a thing that might be true.
uh, yeah, maybe. Well, hold on. What is Rika's channel? It's
Rico doesn't Rico doesn't have a channel, but he's just called Rico Tiger.
no, Rika, the
Oh,
fursuiter who has like 100K subs.
oh, of course, the biggest one, and yeah, I kind of just flew over it.
Hey,
God, I
what's
am
her? Oh,
stupid.
yeah,
Vixen dog.
Vixen Dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the name of the channel. Yeah, that's like, but you're right. It's pretty rare. Most people name their channels after themselves. You know, I didn't start on YouTube to make a channel though. I called
Oh,
my
really?
channel Kothorix so that when I posted on things, it would say Kothorix.
Right.
So when I posted comments, but then it was like
Oh,
I actually considered making a different channel for my like real channel and calling it something else. And I like tried all these different names where like thinking of them, had a big list. And one was like, you know, uh, Blue Dragon Gaming, I remember was one, and I don't know, all kinds of shit. But I just settled on Kothorix because I was like, you know what? I don't want to have to log in a different YouTube just to like watch and comment on videos or whatever.
yeah, I know the feeling, man. I used to have my personal channel, Corey Coyote,
Hmm.
but it was literally called Corey Coyote, but it was for my music,
Hmm.
and it failed miserably. I'd been on it for 2 years, and I didn't even get over 300 subs.
Oh my gosh.
Then someone suggested me because they liked the way I edited videos
Hmm.
that I should start up a gaming channel, and
Yeah.
I can just talk bullshit for hours, you know. So it's like, oh, this suits me, so I'll give this a go. So I think it was like me, Rico, and oh, who was it? I think it was Pink Bunny, like one of the first people I used to play with.
Hmm.
We all had Xboxes, and we all decided to play um some games together and just record them, and it turned into something beautiful. And we were quite happy with that, but we couldn't think of a name for the channel. So
Hmm.
we were thinking of names, but we just wanted something that would just trip off the tongue. And I just thought, I went like, fucking damn it, and dog. Like it was just something convoluted, and it just rolled off the tongue. And Rico was like, ooh, I like that. We'll
Yeah.
call it Damn Dog Games.
No,
So
it's a
yeah.
good name. Yeah, well, you're right. It does roll off the tongue, so it's a good one.
Mm.
And
But
so
we were
what's that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we wanted to avoid, being like the titular, furry called, furry paws gaming or puffy thighs gaming or
Buffy
something like that.
Thighs Gaming.
Puffy, I don't know. That rolls off the tongue. Hey, new channel idea. I'm gonna call myself Puffy Thighs.
Buffy Thigh. That's probably someone's name. That's his persona, I'm sure.
Probably, your comment section's gonna light up now, just saying, "Oh my God, opportunity! I've got a channel now, Puffy Thighs."
Buffy Thighs, or they're gonna be like, "How dare you make fun of Puffy Thighs? Puffy Thighs is a pillar of this community." It's like I've
Of
never heard of this
course,
person.
dude, I would smash Puffy Thighs.
Smash. Yeah. Um, so with your channel, I've seen a few of your videos. You mostly do you have like a whole like posse of gamers then, and you mostly do like let's plays and kind of things like that, or just like silly gaming moments, I guess.
Yeah, we just well, I just record and then I just take the best bits out of that and we kind of all the people I play with we're all good friends and we just
Hmm.
bounce off each other, sort of thing. And it's grown to the point where we can call each other the most horrific names in game, but nobody cares because we like it and it makes funny content.
Hmm.
Um, People in like Shock in the crew and Kel'Thuzar, they particularly like to troll me and
Okay.
get me to rage. I've screamed the house down. I was surprised that my windows didn't shatter at some point, but I'm rambling a bit. I do apologize.
No, it's perfectly fine. This whole podcast is very rambly. I don't usually have much of a structure to it. I think I've only
Mhm.
had one guest so far where he actually stayed on a topic for more than 5 seconds.
I'm doing well then. I'm doing
Yeah.
well.
No, it's definitely interesting that like you were talking to me earlier about how you can say like anything you want and it never starts any controversy. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I think it's just because I wear a fursuit. Because the furry community, I hate to say, is very shallow when it comes to furry YouTubers. Like the odd exception, like you and Blue. Actually, do you know what? I've just figured something out.
What's that?
If you want to be a successful furry YouTuber, be a blue dragon. Well,
Well, yeah.
like think about it. There's Blue the dragon. Two of the same thing, non-fursuited YouTubers are also like two of the biggest as well.
Hmm.
You know, put
Hmm.
two and two together. Just be a blue dragon and then you're fine. Or get a fursuit.
Well, yeah, I would say be a dragon in general because as many dragons as there are in the furry community, it doesn't seem like there are a lot of them that are very like vocal or very out there. Like yeah, I see when I go to forums and stuff, I see like everyone is a dragon or some kind of like scaly or whatever. But then all of the furry YouTubers are all like some kind of canine or something.
Yeah, it does. It is a bit strange that, and like a majority of them are fucking mischief maker suitors as
Mischief
well.
maker suits, yeah.
Disclaimer: I love mischief makers suit. I'm not bashing on them.
Hmm.
Just before any of you get triggered, I know I'm very good at that, but just don't get triggered just yet. I'm only just getting started. um, but yeah, you said like getting controversy and everything like that. I don't seem to get it. Yeah, I've noticed that when I say particularly harsh stuff in my videos, I do it with like in a comedic manner as well, but sometimes I really lay into shit.
Hmm.
But I've noticed like with Two Griffin and you in particular as well, you can say the most harmless thing and mean the best of intentions, and someone somewhere will take offense somehow for the most bullshit of reasons. I make fun of the 80 genders in my videos. Like I make fun of like different political views that are going
Hmm.
on and like stuff like an SJWs in my videos. Nobody says a thing, which is so bizarre. I think it's purely because I roast them on Twitter as well. Um, but I think I've come off quite lucky in a way.
Hmm. Well, I mean, you could call that luck, or you could call it like unlucky, because controversy is kind of what gets those views.
Yeah, I think that's probably why my channel's dying.
You
Cry.
you think your channel's dying?
I genuinely think it's dying. It's slowed right down. Um, but it's just because the YouTube market's so saturated when
Hmm.
it comes to gaming and stuff like that. I do it just purely for fun.
Yeah.
Um, and then someone just suggested, look, if you really enjoy doing this, put full time into this,
Hmm.
and you know, just give up like looking for a regular job because I was at the time. I was
Hmm.
struggling quite a bit, so I decided to just push and do this something that I enjoy, and it for the most part it paid off.
Yeah.
But the particular thing is, I started YouTube right as the adpocalypse began.
Oh yeah.
I started at the absolute worst time, and it was almost the very end of like being creative. I felt like I couldn't do anything. It was a waste of time. But Rico kind of like pushed us and just said, "Look, do this,"
Hmm.
and it may pay off. And
Yeah.
thank God it did, kinda.
Yeah, no, it definitely that's the thing that you have to do. People ask me a lot, like, how do you like, what's your normal job? And it's like, I don't have a normal job because I go like full on with the YouTube, and that's what you have to do. People don't, always
Yeah,
understand, but that's
yeah,
if you that's what you have to do. If you aren't
yeah,
putting your like full time into YouTube, then your channel's not gonna go places usually.
yeah. I've been asked that question so much though. Like,
Hmm.
what do you do for a living? Um, you're a fan of my channel and you're asking me this question?
Yeah.
I do YouTube. You know that thing on the internet that
Hmm.
I've been working so hard for?
Yeah.
It's funny though, like because you know it's a lot of what YouTubers do is so blind to the public.
Hmm.
That they think like everyone like over 1 million subscribers is like a millionaire, which couldn't be further from the truth. It's completely the opposite when it comes to it. I mean,
Uh,
some
y-
like
well, I would say from the YouTubers that I do know that are up there, like close to a million or like over half a million. Not all of them, but a lot of them they would make enough money to get by, but they just are like horrible with finances.
yeah,
So they so they spend all their money on stupid shit that they don't need, or they like to live in LA where it's really expensive, and they're like, oh, I pay $5,000 a month for rent on my apartment. It's like, oh my God,
yeah. What is up with that? LA is fucking horrible. I hate LA.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they just lived like kind of outside it on the outskirts, they'd still like even if they only had to, they still could drive like 45 minutes to get to those big like YouTuber meetups and things, because that's why they go there, right?
Yeah,
For the YouTuber meetups and things. But if they lived outside of LA, they'd have the same thing, except the living expense would be like a tenth of what they pay.
yeah. It's daft. I don't understand why people would go to LA. I went to
Hmm.
LA a couple of years ago. Um, and it is like if you're watching and you've never been to Los Angeles, it is nothing what the TV portrays it to be. Absolutely nothing like it. Because the TV portrays it to be like where all the rich and famous come, City of Fallen Angels. It's beautiful and everything. Nope, not the case. I went there and it was the dirtiest place I've ever been. It is the equivalent of Blackpool over here in Britain. You know,
Well,
I'm guessing you Americans, think Blackpool's amazing. No, it's like it's literally a shit.
I haven't, well, obviously I haven't, I guess not obvious. I haven't actually been there or know much about that, so
Mm.
I don't really know. I don't travel a lot. I kind of prefer to just stay indoors and do YouTube mostly or play video games.
Yeah.
But I did go to New York once, and it's also nothing like what it looks like. There's one strip, right?
Mm.
One strip where it's one street and both sides of the street are lined with like all those like TVs and lights, and it's like really upper class, and it looks exciting and happy, and
Yeah.
and everything everywhere else in the city is a total shithole. It smells like piss always. It smells like raw sewage. Half the apartments are just like abandoned,
Yeah.
and they
It's funny.
have
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, half the apartments or half the buildings are just completely abandoned, and they have like squatters, living in there. So there's just graffiti everywhere. It's terrible. It's dangerous. You can't go anywhere. Even the hotel I stayed at was so like run down and shitty. The elevators didn't work right. Like they'd come up. It was the most terrifying thing ever. They would come up like halfway to the next floor. So when the doors opened, you had to like crawl like over the ledge to get out of the elevator.
Hmm. See, it's funny you say that. It sounds like a shithole, and it is in a way. But I actually like New York.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I like New York. I particularly enjoyed it. I went
Hmm.
to Tiffany's in New York. You know the big jewelry store. Why? Wow, I went American there. Fuck me. Um, yeah, I went to the giant jewelry store in
Hmm.
New York, and it's called Tiffany's. And me and my brother were like looking for something. Hang on, I've got a belch. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's rum and cork. It's getting on my chest.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
and it's hitting me already. Yeah, we were sent like a little request when we went on holiday to pick up like this tiara for like a friend's wedding.
Okay.
So we're going around this jewelry store, and it is the most enormous place we've ever been in for like
Hmm.
jewelry. It's like going around Costco, but it's just for jewelry.
Hmm.
And we're looking around, and we cannot find this thing that our friend is requesting. So we give up about like after 20 minutes of like searching,
Hmm.
and the store clerk was like, can I help you guys?" And we're like, yeah, we're looking for this particular product. We cannot leave the country unless we have this product. And it's like, oh, that's in our silverware. That's on the seventh floor. The biggest store in the world on the ground floor. And there's seven of them on top of each other.
That's awesome.
We were flabbergasted.
There was one place I really liked in New York, and that was the Nintendo store. And it, I believe it only had two floors, but it was all Nintendo shit. And the best part was there was one like section of it that was like its own like section, and it looked like it was called the Pokemon Center, and it looked like Pokemon, from the games when you go into a Pokemon and it has like the aisles and there's like a little cash register there.
Mm.
That's what it was like designed like, and everything was just Pokemon, like lined walls, wall to wall Pokemon shit. That
Dude,
was that was pretty cool.
my boyfriend would like come in his pants if he walked around that place.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that was the place I liked the most.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
and,
funny how how we both saying like places that are portrayed to be good, we
mhm,
often find them to be a shithole.
mhm.
Um, it is weird, but like obviously a lot of them have the perks. Like you said, that Nintendo store and the Pokemon store. Los Angeles has a perk. I hate to admit, and it's
Okay,
called
what's that?
Santa Monica. Santa Monica is actually really nice.
Okay.
Where the beach is. Oh shit, you know. Okay. You know Hollywood Boulevard, where all the stars are in the pavement.
Okay, yeah.
All the stars' name. That's like one of the like biggest tourist attractions, and I'm walking along there, and I see this like yellow trail coming from this like back alley,
Mhm.
and it smells like piss, and it's going all over the stars' names, and sure enough, it's a homeless person having a piss, right, and it's like on the street in front of everyone, and it's
Yeah.
leaking on the like George Clooney's name.
I'm
Like,
sure that happens all the time.
oh yeah. Well, if you go to LA, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, we went when I was in New York. The homeless people kind of just don't really seem to give a fuck. I grew up in like smaller towns, and one of the places that I lived was Ukiah, California, and
Hmm.
it's really small. The town is only like 3 miles across, and there were some homeless people there, but they were like nice, and they would they would ask you like for money or some food or something.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was fine. But in New York, people were like, they kind of like expected you to give them things, and they were kind of rude and weird, and it was very bizarre.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
I think it's because they know all the tourists go there,
Uh-huh.
and they kind of just expect it. They don't even have to really beg. And I
Hmm.
bet you like not like about 25% of them aren't even actually homeless.
Oh, yeah, that's what the I was with well, it was part of a like a youth group like missionary trip thing. Like we were
Mm.
there to specifically to feed the homeless, right? That's why I had so much like exposure to them. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that the our like kind of tour guide guy was saying was like, look, you don't give anything to anybody during the day. Wait till it's night,
Mm.
when you see them like setting up their like cardboard village, and that's how you know they're actually homeless.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about a week ago. I was literally in Gran Canaria a week ago, and they've got an even bigger problem of homeless people out there than
Hmm.
anywhere I've ever seen. And the sad thing is, about 75% out there aren't homeless. 75% of all like the hobos that you see in the street out there are not homeless, but they are so fucking stupid out there. Because it was so easy to spot when they were faking it. There was this woman, sat with a cardboard thing,
Hmm.
and she was like begging for money for food, sort of thing.
Right.
But if you tried to like give her food, she wouldn't accept it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
But this is the strangest, the like even more obvious than that. You walk past it and she's fatter than butter. You know, how
Okay.
do you need food? You're clearly well fed, you stupid bitch. Um, and then not only that, we walk about 10 feet on, and this other homeless guy who's got like sleeping bags everywhere. He looks a bit more authentic, but
Hmm.
I watched this guy drop some money into his like little pot. He walks
Hmm.
off, and as soon as his back is turned, guess what he puts to his ear? A brand new fucking iPhone 10.
Oh gosh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's bizarre.
that totally legit. That you can keep charge on that bloody thing and still remain homeless.
Yeah, apparently the whole like panhandling thing does make pretty good money.
Yeah. I should give it a. I'm giving up YouTube. I'm gonna go and fucking, sit on the street corner, get myself an iPhone 10 by the end of the week.
You could become an e-whore like me and just monetize your moans, and people will give you money.
Oh, brilliant. It sounds, but I'm just amazed at how, people can be that shitty, taking advantage of something when people are actually in need.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. The fucked up part is this is a little bit off topic, but still, homeless people.
Mm,
The fucked up part here, I don't know how it is over there, but here, when the housing market crashed, what happened was a lot of people lost. I don't know exactly how it works, but basically their houses were worth less than they owed on it. So it was actually a gain if they just abandoned their house. S Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. That's what happened, and so you just burn your house down or whatever and leave, and you actually have more money than if you continued living in your house. But the problem is that in the banks were like, well, can't pay for your house or whatever, or people getting laid off because the economy went to shit. Uh, can't pay for your house, well, we're gonna evict you. But they did
yeah,
that to so many people that they couldn't do anything with the houses. So you see all of these homeless people, and then at the same time, all of these houses that have just sat empty for years.
that's wrong. I think that's wrong. You can't do that to people and just like you can't kick someone out of their home and then just like leave it. That's
Yeah,
that's
no,
that's fucked up.
that's what they did because the bank had too many houses. They couldn't sell them fast enough, so they just sit there for years. The people, we have some people that were living in our old house. We used to rent it out, and then we couldn't pay for it anymore. I'm talking about like my parents, right? And so they rented out the house, and they couldn't pay for it anymore eventually because the people that were renting it couldn't pay rent. So the bank was like, "Well, we're taking you from the house. We're evicting you." And those people were just like, "Nah, fuck that." And they've just been living there for like 3 years, and no one has come to kick them out of the house because the bank like doesn't give enough of a shit. But for so many people, they just like listened to the bank, and they were like, "Okay, well, if you own the house and you're telling me to get out, I guess I have to get out." And that house would have just sat there for 3 years unoccupied while this family doesn't have a place to live.
Fucking hell. That's so bad.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty fucking awful.
Thanks, Obama.
Well, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it's anybody's
No,
fault exactly. I don't know why the housing market crashed. I haven't looked into it that much,
mm.
actually. I
Kind
think it was just,
it kind of
what's that?
reminds yeah, it kind of reminds me of that thing with JP Morgan.
Hmm.
You know it, it the bank is called JP Morgan out there. There is a bank.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is. It is that. I stumbled on something while reading up on. I think it was either Milo Yiannopoulos or Gavin McKing's
Hmm.
recently, and when uh they needed bankrolling, the bank was in so much debt. The government or Obama, one of the two, however you want to look at it, they wanted to. They had the choice of either um bailing out JP Morgan or doing something else. And they decided to bail out JP Morgan's debt. Do you know how
Hmm.
much debt they were in? Do you know how much that would have covered?
No, how much debt?
The debt that they incurred on themselves would have covered every single person's mortgage in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
That's how much debt they were in, and they decided to bankroll the bank again. That's how fucked up it is.
Yeah, that's what happens here in the US for something, and when things are considered too big to fail because it would be such a blow to the economy that the government has to bail them out.
Mm.
It's the same thing. There's a lot of companies like that. Walmart is like that. If Walmart ever, went out of business, which they never will because they're, you know, but if they ever did going out of business or were in debt or something, the government would just bail them out. They have to.
Yeah,
Uh, and same thing with Google.
yeah,
If Google ever had problems, the government would have to bail them out. And it's way worse than you think too with Google because the government use all of the search engines and things that the government use are based off of Google.
yeah.
The military, I don't remember what it's called, like the military personnel directory is
Mm.
based off of Google. So if Google went under, the government and military would cease to function. So,
Really?
yeah. So
Jesus.
Google cannot fail. It is impossible. The government would bail them out every time.
I love how you're mixing this in with Walmart as well, by the way. I hope
Walmart,
Walmart doesn't go down because then over here we wouldn't have fucking Asda.
Asda.
It's Asda is owned by Walmart, but it's
Uh-huh.
like a cheap, crappy version. I wish we had Walmart here in the UK. I love Walmart. Walmart is
Yeah,
so fucking good.
yeah. Walmart it allows a lot of towns to survive.
Yeah, I think
Like,
I think that's great. You
yeah,
know.
people, a lot of small towns, people who don't make a lot of money.
Mm.
It offers like jobs for the entire community and cheap stuff for them.
Yeah, yeah. When I went to Florida, the thing that made me chuckle about Walmart,
Hmm.
uh, I needed to pick up some toothpaste because I forgot to bring some from England, and like right next to the toothpaste was like 9mm ammo, and how American can you get? Like you got your toothpaste, you got your soap, and then you got your AK-47, and
Yeah.
then you
Oh,
got your
yeah.
but I loved that's what I absolutely loved about it out there. Because
Hmm.
if I lived in America, I would definitely own a gun.
Hmm.
Because over here in England we don't have guns, and
Right.
it kind of sucks. We can have shotguns, but like with very strict laws. I think we've got like probably the strictest laws on firearms in the world over here in the UK. I
Oh,
think
really?
I think that's only a think though. I may be wrong on that.
Mm. Okay. I mean, that would. I thought it was Australia, but then I talked to Risis, and he was like, the gun laws aren't actually that bad in Australia, despite what like the rest of the world thinks.
Mm,
You aren't allowed to conceal carry like pistols, but
mm,
any like weapon, any rifle or whatever that you can carry in two hands, that's like perfectly fine.
mm.
Whereas, in the UK, like you were saying, that's not allowed at all. You can't have an assault rifle, right?
No, you can't have an assault rifle. You can't have a pistol.
Hmm.
You can have a shotgun, but you have to have a gun cabinet in your home. It has to be
Oh.
fixed to the wall. It has to have,
Oh.
I think, at least two padlocks on it. And if you carry it anywhere, you need to have a license. If you like carry a shotgun shell in your car and you don't have a license on you, that's jail time.
Oh my gosh.
It's so strict of it, which is
Wow.
uh, I'm mixed on the whole thing because I would like
Hmm.
to own a firearm,
Hmm.
um, but when I went to Florida and I actually fired a Glock, that was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Was that? Why was that? What
I,
was it like?
I just went to a shooting range like thinking, oh, this'll be all right. This'll be a bit of fun.
Hmm.
They tell you when they go in there that they have to talk to you rudely because they need to know your temperament. Because if you can't
Hmm.
handle them, then they're not going to allow you in.
Hmm.
Um, and I put the magazine in and just started firing and everything. And I just thought it would be like firing a BB gun. Holy shit, no! I was fucking wrong.
It's very loud, yes.
Oh, it's very loud. You got the headphones on. And one thing that I didn't realize at the time, but they told me then, on a Glock, the entire top half comes back every time you fire, like a recoil
Yeah.
sort of thing. I didn't realize how powerful that was because they said, do not, for the love of fuck's sake, put your thumb behind that. Because if you put your
Oh,
thumb
right.
behind that, it's not going to break your thumb. It's going to tear it clean off. And and this is like after I'd handed my like $60 over after having a lesson and having a shoot. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, have I made the right decision here? I don't think I like want to be holding this thing now. I wanted an exit, but I'm so glad I did it because it was
Hmm.
after when I got into it, it was so much fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. That's what a lot of people don't realize. People who say, no one should have guns or whatever, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, it's like a fun sport, you know.
It is a fun
Uh,
sport.
yeah, it's like if you like video games about shooting things, then it's like that, but better.
It's like literal VR.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting now. My dad has a lot of rifles, so I've been to gun ranges with him, and there's only one gun that he has that kind of terrifies me. It's this. Oh boy, I don't know the name of it. I can't remember offhand, but it uses a 7.62 ammo, which is like this huge round.
Mm.
And it like blasts you in the face with air every time you fire it because I don't know, it just like redistributes gas or something to make the like recoil
Yeah.
less. I don't know exactly why it does, but it blasts you in the face with air. I cannot handle that thing. It sucks. Yeah, it's terrifying. And it's loud. It's the loudest gun, yeah, that I've ever heard.
Yeah. I love speaking of like gun loudness, I love
Hmm.
how in games and in movies, you know how like guns like I can't remember, but you know when guns have a silencer on them
Hmm.
or a suppressor, movies make you think that it just makes it sound like a pew.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so not true.
Yeah, that yeah, movies are pretty funny with that sort of thing. Yeah, like in some cases it doesn't actually like make any noise difference. It's just I guess it's like just for a flash suppressor.
But yeah, I
So,
think that's that, and it's also a recoil suppressor as well because it adds more
mhm,
weight to the end of the barrel. And
right.
here's something that you probably didn't know: the suppressor actually adds more power to the gun. Did
I
you know
haven't
that?
uh no, I don't think I did.
Because the barrel is longer then,
Hmm.
so the powder that the bullet's like being propelled has got more time to burn. So the
Hmm.
bullet will continue accelerating until it leaves the barrel. So the longer the
Right.
barrel, the further it'll go.
I also imagine that it makes it more accurate once again for the same reason. The longer the barrel, the more accurate the shot.
Yeah, I think that was correct. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The other thing that movies get wrong, which I find pretty funny, is when someone throws a grenade and it's just like this huge fireball. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
not true. It's just a push of air.
Yeah, it's just a little. It's just. I mean, it's loud, but it's just a little like, boop, like tiny explosion. Right
Mm,
now, the bad part is that it sends slicing pieces of metal everywhere that will just like go right through you.
yeah.
That's the bad part.
Mm,
But yeah, the explosion itself is really tiny.
yeah. And not only that, oh fuck, I've got a burp again. Oh fuck. Excuse me. Um, yeah. I mean, it sounds tame on paper, but that blast of air is enough to crush your ribs as well. But
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're within like 5 meters, if you're in a room, uh, like a small room, the air pressure alone is enough to like liquefy your brain. So yeah, that's a problem.
yeah. Why do movies Well, then again, I guess it's got to look cool in order to make $1 million.
Yeah, it's got to be more of a spectacle.
I'd love to make my own film. If I had the right camera and the right equipment, I reckon I could make something pretty fucking sick. You know,
Mhm.
I'd love to have a go at filming an action scene with fursuits and guns and everything like that. I would so love to do that because I know how to do it. It's just I don't have the right gear for it.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's because just like watching a lot of film, right, and stuff. They show you how to do stuff like that. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons I want to. Not the main reason. It's one of the reasons I'd like to move to America. Um, but yeah, I'll be coming to America for MFF next year.
Okay, are you gonna go to Anthrocon?
No, I refuse to go to Anthrocon.
Oh, because they barred two from speaking.
Literally, like, have you heard what they did recently about with Uncle Kage as well?
Oh, what'd they do?
I think this is only what I've heard. This may not be true because but I heard through the grapevine that he's been barred from speaking as well. I think.
Isn't he the like CEO or whatever of it?
Yeah, but apparently the board of directors have said no. Because I think it's because one Triggerlypuff got fucking triggered during his show, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kage says worse things than two ever said, so
Mm.
that would make sense, but also not make sense because he's like the CEO. Like, how are you gonna bar your own
Yeah.
like boss from doing something? But that's what happens when you put a that actually that does happen sometimes with companies where you put a group in charge
Mm.
that's not you, and then they just like vote you out.
Yeah. But
That happens.
but yeah, I refuse to give any cent or money to Anthrocon purely because of what they did to two. What they did to two was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Um, like if you're gonna get triggered because of someone who says some, like jokes that you find a little bit offensive, but you feel the need to bar him from a convention where people have been coming for years and years and years to see his show, to completely get rid of him, I find that
Mhm.
fucking disgraceful.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even things. It wasn't even jokes that he said that people got offended by. It
No.
was because when the whole Richard Spencer thing getting punched happened,
Yeah.
two said on Twitter, you can't hit people just
Yeah.
for being a Nazi or whatever. And people, that's what set people off, which makes no fucking
Yeah,
sense.
that's the stupidest thing. I don't understand how people can be so fucking retarded, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, like Richard Spencer is a disgraceful, disgusting human being. I have no, problem with saying that. But punching him is not the right thing to do. If you want to
Yeah.
ridicule Richard Spencer, you let him speak and let everyone know, or let him show himself up to be this disgraceful human being that he is.
Hmm.
If you punch him and you try and silence him, that makes what he has to say that much more powerful to people who don't know anything about him.
Yeah, and that's what people are saying built the alt-right.
Yeah.
Is people doing that, like shutting down anyone who spoke who wasn't, far left.
Mm.
But by shutting these people down who aren't far left, they've created this they've created this group of people who want to get together just to oppose that far left,
Yeah.
right? And that's where you have the alt right, and there are different branches of the alt-right. There's like the Richard Spencer school of thought where it's like everyone, hates non-whites or whatever. But
Hmm.
then there's just people who are anti-social justice. And you put them all in the same group and suddenly you have this massive group who are, I don't know, it's like
Yeah, because like some people who like say like for the fact me and two, we say
uh-huh,
controversial shit all the time, but we don't spout hate ever. Yet we
uh-huh.
are like perceived to be in the same group as disgusting human beings like that.
Yeah, no, that happens. I mean, that happens to me too. I have people calling me a Nazi because well, one of the reasons was people were calling me a Nazi because I had Foxler on my. It was before I started doing podcasts. I guess you could call it like the first podcast I did.
Mm.
I had Foxler on, and I just wanted to talk to him like, "Hey, are you a Nazi? Are you like what is the Furry Raiders? What do they stand for? Everyone thinks you're Nazis. Like, prove to me that you're not Nazis, I guess, or
Hmm.
what do you do? And people, just because I had Foxler on, they were calling me a Nazi or a Nazi sympathizer. It was like, you shouldn't even talk to him. You shouldn't even allow him to speak if. It's like, what the fuck?
Ever happened to the First Amendment? You know,
Yeah.
even if he, like, I actually didn't manage to watch the full podcast. I'm still wanting to get around to it. What was his viewpoint? I'm a bit curious now.
Oh, he's a little bit nuts. That's his viewpoint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most of the things he said were very didn't make a lot of sense. Were very like he's clearly. I don't want to talk shit about someone, even though if it is Foxler, and I just don't want to sound like someone who's jumping on the bandwagon
Yeah.
of hating Foxler. And I don't hate him. I just like can see things. Like he
Mm,
has some issues, right?
mm,
He's a little bit disturbed.
yeah.
A lot of the things he says don't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm sure they make sense to him.
Yeah.
He was talking about how like furries are like superior to normies, and that he doesn't care about people unless they're furries, and like that's why he says things like I hate black people and I hate Jews and I hate all this. He's like, I say that he says that because he hates all people who aren't furries.
Right. Okay. That is a bit nuts. But
Yeah.
then again, I don't know the guy personally. I haven't listened to
Mhm.
anything he's ever said, so I cannot make the judgment myself because I would need to do my own research for that.
Yeah.
And that's what
It's
people
very.
are not doing.
Mhm.
They're just jumping on the bandwagon of calling someone a Nazi, and that's what they've done to two. And you and I, they don't
Mhm.
listen. They just want something to to charge at. And
Right.
but there was this one protest. As you know, I like Milo Yiannopoulos. I think he's a
Mhm.
very inspirational person. And he he released a video, or it might have been someone else. There was this protester that was like protesting one of his rallies,
Mhm.
and this guy came up to him and said like, oh, like why are you here? It's like, oh, I heard Milo was speaking. Apparently he said some really hateful things. And they say, "Oh, what's he said that's hateful?" Well, I don't know actually. I just heard from a bunch of people. This is like I only heard about him today. Like
Mhm.
you're there causing violence purely because of someone saying that they don't like him. That's basically what he was doing.
Yeah. No, people do that all the time. It doesn't make any sense. People did that with Trump.
Mm,
Like people still do it with Trump. They're like, "Ah, Trump's so evil. Trump's so bad." It's like, okay, what has he done?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like literally, what has he done? That's so terrible. I don't really think Trump is like the most fit person to be a president. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not really a Trump supporter,
Mm,
but I also like don't like what has he done?
yeah,
Because 15 years ago he said he made a joke about uh, women letting him grab them by the pussy because he's famous.
yeah,
Like that's what he said that people got ticked off. Well, he's probably right. It probably wasn't even a joke.
yeah.
That's what happens with famous people. People let you do whatever you want to them.
Yeah, well, apart from the Me Too movement,
The Me Too movement.
well, do you not know the thing about Harvey Weinstein? And
Oh, okay. That's what I yeah, but that's what it's called now. I hadn't heard
I
that
think
that's what
it's
it was
called
called.
Me Too movement. But
The
yeah,
Me Too movement. Okay.
yeah, but this is the like one of the main reasons I refuse to go to Anthrocon, purely because of what they did to two. They took everything, out of context. They just basically said, "Look, oh, he's supporting a Nazi. Let's ban him." And that
Mhm.
who was that fucking garbage guy?
Zydex or something.
Zydex. He needs to be, if anything, he needs to be the one that's being called a Nazi. Because do you know what like people are doing that they're trying to silence too because of like different opinions or anything like
Hmm.
that? Do you know who did that? The Nazis. You know
Right.
that's
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why the whole Antifa thing doesn't make a lot of sense either.
yeah
They're trying to silence people, and it's like, oh, we're anti-fascists, also do whatever we say, and you're not allowed to have opposing opinions. Like, oh, okay, sure.
yeah. They're also terrorists as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here in the US, they're gonna be, I mean, they're on the verge of being labeled as domestic terrorists. Actually, I haven't heard much from Antifa lately, probably because they know that they're on the verge of being labeled as terrorists, so they don't want to they're like, oh shit, this is getting heavy. Let's do
There's
something else.
no argument about it. They are terrorists.
Mm,
It's the same with Black Lives Matter. That's a domestic terrorist group as well.
mm.
Um,
I haven't.
sorry.
Okay, with Black Lives Matter, the whole thing is kind of dumb, but I don't. Were they causing a bunch of violence specifically?
Yeah, what they've basically like a lot of Black Lives Matter groups have done. They've destroyed their own hometowns,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No,
and
that
then they
now that you
demand a
mention that, yeah.
community center. Like, really? You're gonna do that to your own hometown and then demand free shit?
Hmm.
No, that's not how it works. I agree. Black people have been treated disgracefully, you know, over the years. There's been some horrific racism. I just know that Black Lives Matter is not the answer to it.
Hmm.
Um,
I well, I think when the whole movement just started, like I understood it. I was like, okay, yeah, the whole thing was in protest of police mistreatment, which we know has been going on for a long time.
yeah,
Uh, it never really ended since the whole racist days. I don't even know.
yeah.
I don't even know what to call it. Like,
Mm.
uh, it never really ended. There were just a lot of racist cops, and they get away with it because cops get away with everything in America.
Yeah,
And
which is
I
actually
understood
kind
it.
of a fabrication in a way because, um, there's been a lot of like police officers being suspended quite badly, left, right, and center for all kinds of crimes now. Um,
Hmm.
but there's a bunch of things, but with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, they say it's about police brutality and everything like that. But the problem is though, the only people that Black Lives Matter don't care about are black people themselves, because I've there's a study um by the FBI,
Hmm.
I think it was I can't remember what fucking part it was, but apparently the biggest cause of black deaths in America are by like blacks themselves.
Right. No, that's yeah. We know that.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
yeah,
Seen things.
90% of all black deaths in America are by the hand of other blacks, and the other 10% are not
Hmm.
like police officers. Yes, they're in there, but that includes whites, Hispanics, Chinese, like anything, like any other race. 10%, and that's police included. But the percentage is so minute, and police have actually killed more white people than they have black people, which is
Hmm. I
which
think.
is crazy. I know some people in your comments are gonna like call me racist or anything, something like that, but that's not the case. I'm not a racist person at all. This is just fact as what's happened, and I think it's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Well, yeah. It's yeah. It's not necessarily that that police have killed more white people than black people is the problem because there are so many more white people. That's to be expected. It's just the proportions.
Yeah,
It's the proportions that matter. So that's what the people call out like, oh well, oh that's not true. I don't know, but there's a lot that goes into it. And the thing with those numbers is that they're easy to manipulate. So I look at some of them and I don't really know what to think.
yeah, yeah.
I hear I go in about my centrist feel. I know, but it's just like it's hard for me to really make a judgment based on a couple of studies because you see one study and the numbers support one thing, and then you see another study, and the numbers support a different thing, and it's like, how can both these things be true? And it's just,
Because
I don't know.
I don't deny for 1 second that there is genuine racism, like amongst black people. I think all of it, all racism towards black people is disgusting.
Mhm.
But I just do not believe that Black Lives Matter is the answer for it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's the problem. You have the same problem whenever you form any sort of movement based on emotion, is that it inevitably becomes like a riot, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you form a group, they have to follow a certain line of opinion
Hmm.
or ideology, and everyone has to follow that exact same one. If you don't have anything, if you have one thing that doesn't line up with their like views or anything like that, you're out. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
that's the
that's the
problem.
yep.
That's the problem. It cannot be solved with a group. It has to be solved differently. But the problem is, I don't have the answer, and neither does anyone else.
Yeah.
But actually, a point brought up by Morgan Freeman. Um, he said something that was just like it was inspiring because of how simple it was.
Hmm.
He said like someone asked him, "How are we going to stop racism? In amongst blacks? Stop talking about it, because when you talk about it, the problem's there. When you stop talking about it, it's gone.
Hmm.
Because
I don't know if I agree with that though.
but it works. I can see there's a flaw in it. I know that, like, because
Hmm.
it doesn't stop people from like causing acts of hatred or anything like that. Yeah, it doesn't stop that. But the problem is like when people are exposed to racism and everything like that, the exposure. If people stop
Hmm.
talking about it, then it's not there. Because when people start talking about it, it's there.
I think the problem is that if people aren't talking about it, it's still there. Racist people are still going to be racist, except now they're not.
Mm.
Now that it's not being talked about,
Attention.
there's no
Yeah,
one
there's no. Yeah,
attention given
there's
to
no
it.
attention.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
so you don't even, if you don't talk about it, if we didn't talk about racism, then people doing racist things wouldn't get talked about. They wouldn't be called out for that.
Yeah,
That's the problem I have with
I
what
know,
he
but
said.
there's two sides to it when you look at it.
Hmm.
There's the side that you're going through, and then there's the other side that basically said, well, if we don't have attention, then we're just not giving the voice to racist people. It's
I guess, but it's not just about
but
voice. It's
it
about,
goes both ways though. That's the sad
yeah.
thing. There's no wrong or right answer for it,
Hmm.
because whichever way you look at it, there's a problem.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, it's just there needs to be another solution. Violence is never the answer, and
Right.
rioting and destroying your own hometowns is never the answer.
Yeah, that's some silly shit. I don't know. That's just what happens when you get a group of people together that are all angry about something.
Yeah,
Like a person, a person who's angry is already dumb. Like their whole logic center is shut down. Get a bunch of, and we already know that getting a group together, even if they're not angry, they'll do dumb things.
yeah,
So it's like it's stupid compounded with stupid. Like what? What do you think is gonna happen? Nothing good.
yeah. It's exactly right.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there just needs to be another solution. That's all I
Hmm.
can say to that. But I know, like what I've just said, in the past thing is going to be taken out of context. Someone's going to get triggered somewhere. But to be honest, I
Who
welcome that.
cares?
I welcome that. I
Yeah.
welcome controversy, um, because I can deal with it. That's the stupid thing. I think I've just let myself into an open invite there.
Yeah, well, like, if you start doing these sort of like podcasts of your own or whatever. I don't, do you do podcasts at all?
I don't do podcasts. This is the first ever podcast I've ever done, though. This is the first like interview I've ever done. I've never done anything of the sort before. So
Oh, okay.
I must admit I was quietly shitting myself before I came on.
Quietly, why? What are you upset about?
Oh, I'm not upset about anything. It's just I've never done it before, and I'm on
Oh,
with a famous dragon.
oh,
You know,
well, I mean, you.
Can I get your autograph, Daddy? Like afterwards, maybe a pat on the back.
A pat on the back. Well, I mean, I would say if you start doing your own podcasts or just having guests on to talk to, or just talking to people on Twitter, maybe in private
Mm,
about this sort of thing, um, I don't know. I find it helpful to get other people's views, even people who really um, disagree with me.
mm.
And part of the reason, not only to like expand my knowledge of an issue, but also to kind of see when people like what kind of arguments people use that are good, and what kind of arguments they use that are bad. For example, something that people like to do is just discredit you. Basically, if they can't argue with you, they just try to make you look bad.
Yeah.
And being able to identify that so you can just call them out on it
Mm.
is the best thing ever. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well,
It's like,
my God, I'm getting tongue tied. I must be drunk. The discrediting thing. As soon as someone starts doing that, I immediately can see that their argument is flawed.
mhm,
Because they can't defend themselves. And when
yeah,
they start doing that, it's childish.
yeah,
Yeah, the discrediting thing. It's like the Trump and Hillary campaign.
mhm,
Both of them were like going at each other, doing the same
yeah,
thing. It was quite hilarious though.
uh-huh,
Oh, but someone
yeah,
someone made a video that I found so fucking hilarious. It compared this election debate with Hillary and Trump um, to the one in the 1960s with John F. Kennedy and I can't remember who the other one was, the other
uh-huh.
candidate. And the difference is phenomenal. You think when you were watching the Trump and Hillary debates that you were walking into a children's playground.
Yeah, those were entertaining to
Yeah.
watch. That was for
And
sure.
then you got the older ones, you'd think you were walking into a library because they were so calm, they were so like mature about everything that they were doing, and it was all within good intention.
It's just how politics have evolved, I guess. And now everything is a shouting match, and you see that echoed in groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You know,
I have
that's how we
sorry.
that's how we get things done. I guess that's how people expect things to happen, is just by screaming the loudest.
Yeah, I have noticed one thing with Antifa. It's kind of sneaking into the fandom, which I'm not particularly happy about.
Oh yeah, I've seen a little bit of people who identify as Antifa, which is going to be a problem here if they are considered terrorists. Probably want to get that off your profile.
Yeah, Antifa is not a good thing to be associated with or anything like that. Don't take what I have to say. Go look it up for yourselves. But be warned, people who are watching, and if you are thinking about being part of Antifa, be warned. It is a very, very tempting description of Antifa. Anti-fascist, anti-racist, all of those sound great, don't they? It's very appealing. However, their acts and decisions of like how they've used to counteract it are terrorism. It is not a good thing to be a part of.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Is with those descriptions, and people. It's funny because people on the left, even the Antifa people, do they say the same thing about the alt right, which is also true. They say these very convincing. And I'm talking about the like Richard Spencer school of alt right, because I understand that there's like 4chan alt
Mm.
right or whatever, which is just posting memes,
How can
right?
anyone
And
be?
they
How
don't
can anyone be tempted into Richard Spencer? Like how do you
because
advertise? How can you advertise white supremacy as a good thing? Like how?
because the way he advertises it is kind of similar to what Trump was saying, which is why people were labeling Trump as a Nazi, in that it's uh, like we need to get our jobs back or whatever. We need to
Oh, like the Make America
fix
Great
the
Again thing.
economy. Yeah, we need to fix the economy, and the problem with the economy is all of the like illegal Mexicans coming in, which is partially true, but it's also like a little bit racist if you think about it, because it kind of breeds this idea that like Mexicans are ruining the country. You know what I mean?
Mm,
When that's not, not necessarily true.
mm,
And things like that. Or they like the other thing is that they're anti-social justice, which is very appealing to a lot of people.
mm,
They're also they want to watch out specifically for white people because we have groups like Black Lives Matter, so they're the White Lives Matter, and a lot of people are upset with people, black people getting special treatment, which they do. There's a quota that colleges meet to accept black students instead of accepting everybody on their merits. There are people who are getting into politics or high-paying jobs because of the color of their skin, because groups want to be like, oh, we're more inclusive now, so let's you know get this minority person in instead of a white guy who may be more qualified to do the job.
mm.
So these groups, these I guess minority groups, do get special treatment, and the whole Richard Spencer thing is is addressing that and saying that we need to like push back on this, and that's very appealing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can understand like some of this, like the anti-social justice warrior. See, that's the kind of thing that would appeal me, because I am very anti-social justice warrior. I'm very, very against it. I'm very pro free speech, but that does not mean that I support, everything else that Richard Spencer says. But I can understand, because I didn't realize that like a lot of people, well, a lot of them would advertise, that kind of thing to be a pro towards what they stand for. But yeah, but if I was to pick one side or the other, like from just like purely their descriptions, the anti-racism and the anti-fascism, that on its own sounds fantastic. On its own,
Right.
it sounds great. Nobody wants to be seen as a racist. Nobody wants to be seen as a fascist. Nobody does. That's my phone. Ignore that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing that the general populace would look for. However, it's a complete lie, because they're fascists themselves, because they oppose different
Yeah.
ideas, and they don't have an open discussion. Which is it's also creeping into the fandom, and it's not a good Vox, okay, put out an article that frightened the living shit out of me.
Okay.
It said that the furry fandom is now the ultimate place, or the best safe space for young people. I spat out my fucking coffee when I said that.
Well, it's partially true.
Yeah, it is, and that's not a good thing at all. Safe spaces, in my opinion, by the way, this is my opinion, are the most dangerous thing you can do to a human being. Because
it stunts your growth in almost every way.
No, it's purely because it's kind of hard to describe, because I was brought up like with a northern family. I was taught how to fight. I played with the big boys a lot. I was bullied every day. I hung around with my brother's mates who were like 10 years older than me. It was a rough and tumble bringing up. But I think that was the best form of bringing up I could ever have. Because now I don't care if someone, calls me a faggot or anything like that for being gay. And it's purely because I had a decent upbringing. I was exposed to like a little bit of harshness, like a little bit of meanness, and it's toughened me up personally. And
that's what I mean.
Safe spaces, on the other hand, try and shelter you from every sort of like bit of harsh or harmness, which is incredibly stupid. Because when you've got college kids that are going into safe spaces and they need to like a place to hide, a place to feel safe, let's say. That's why it's called a safe space. Haha. And then they come out of the safe space, they have to find a job, and they have to go into the real world.
they are fucking terrified because the world is not a nice place.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant by it stunts your growth. Is that it stunts your emotional growth, your like intellectual growth, because you're not getting any input from people who don't agree with you.
Mm.
It's just you're like a child,
Yeah,
right?
it is exactly like a children's playpen. Yeah.
And it's just you're right. A safe space is not good.
You need to expose yourself to some mean comments.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be exposed to things, or you're never going to learn how to handle them.
Yeah,
And it's okay, I don't want to say the whole thing, the whole argument is like, well, people getting bullied and you're just saying grow thicker skin. That's not right. But I'm not saying that. I don't think that people should harass you, right? I'm just saying that you need to know how to deal with being harassed.
Yeah.
You can't just like shut down and cry on the floor when someone harasses you. You need to learn to like press the block button and get over it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's if you can't do that, like how are you gonna be anyone in life? Like
it's not a good thing to develop into a safe space. What was I gonna say? Fuck. I can't remember. Yeah, with the whole safe space thing, me and like the people I play with over on Damn Dog Games, we strive to be as offensive as we like can possibly be allowed on YouTube. We will we'll make really offensive jokes, saying like was it like I'm an attack helicopter? That's like a really tame one, like a really an attack helicopter gender. It's not really funny, but that some people get triggered by it, and that's we like offending people. And someone asked me, why do you want to be an offensive furry channel when all the other furry channels are like being, very positive and very, bubbly and everything like that? And I said, the reason why is because I know furries can't handle the real world. They can't handle being laughed at for being a furry, which being laughed at for being a furry, by the way, is completely understandable, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, we make offensive jokes purely because we want to, I don't want to sound like philosophical or up my own ass, but we'd like to consider ourselves as teachers, because I feel like it would be my responsibility to toughen someone up who I know cannot handle a joke. I feel like it would be my duty to offend that person, because if I did it in a nice way, by the way, not to like be hateful, it's just to basically have a bit of a joke on, but it's like stuff that would make you go, oh dude, man, that kind of thing. But someone in the real world comes along who is actually dangerous and is actually very mean. What does that person do if he's just been in a safe space? He cannot defend himself. And I would feel terrible as a person that hasn't. If someone, fuck's sake, I would feel terrible as a person because I would feel like I haven't done my duty to help that person be a tougher person. I mean, the whole positive thing, be positive or anything like that, that's fine, and people do need a bit of positivity, but you cannot go through life thinking that everything is going to be positive. You just cannot. It's not going to happen, because like sooner or later, when it comes along, everyone's going to go through it. Your parents are going to die. Your grandparents are going to die. You're going to need to, not be an emotional wreck. Don't get me wrong. Actually, no. Do you know what? That's a really fucking extreme example. I take that back. Because I think I would be heartbroken if my dad died. What I mean is that when someone comes along and someone is spouting something truly hateful to you, you need to know how to defend yourself. Because if you don't, what are you going to do? You're going to get laughed at. You're going to probably want to kill yourself. A lot of bullied people do kill themselves. It has happened. But there is a way of getting around it. toughen yourself up. Expose yourself to some offensive humor. Expose yourself to like having a bit of a nasty joke on with your friends, you know, like calling each other a faggot or anything like that. I welcome people calling me a faggot, by the way, because that's the least offensive word to me to call a gay person, by the way. And yeah, I am gay, just so you know. Let's just get that out there. I can say faggot.
Okay.
I have a privilege.
Gay privilege.
Yeah. Got a fat pass and a faggot pass. Let's go with that. Yeah. But I have like no one else to thank but, you know, my upbringing, because I can take it. Like if someone says kill yourself to me, I'm not gonna kill myself. Of course not. I'm not. I'm gonna fucking laugh at them because it's pathetic. You know.
Yeah. That's where you gotta, yeah, and that's the thing is that people don't. The problem I see is a lot of people are, they give in to the bullying, and it might not even be because they're not exposed to it, and they're, you know, sometimes they're exposed to a lot of it, and that's what, you know, makes them cave in. But the thing is, if you just try to hide from it, then, like you said, you never learn how to deal with it. You don't have to take a bunch of like bullying and harassment. You can rise above it, and it gets to the point where, like, especially me as a YouTuber, and I'm sure you're the same way. It gets to a point where it just doesn't even matter. It's not even that my like skin is thick, really. It's like I'm so far above it. It's just like ants squabbling, and it's like, why would I care?
Like, just don't be afraid of saying whatever you like. Obviously, have a bit of common sense. You know, don't go saying, you know, I hate black people or anything like that. That's obviously really fucking stupid to do that. But like, if you want to make a joke about something, you know, something that's really like offensive, tell the joke. Tell it, because if you don't tell the joke, then it's not going to expose other people to it. This is like a very loose example. But I feel like people should be free to say what they want to say without having any form of scrutiny or bullying or anything like that. On my channel, you may have noticed it, I don't get that many hate comments. And there's a real good reason for that, is because when I was starting out on YouTube, you know, I got a bunch of haters who thought it was funny, you know, there's this new furry channel, let's go hate on him, you know? Didn't bother me at all. But I did something that made sure that I would never get a hate comment ever again. What I did was I loved that comment with the YouTube feed, and I pinned it to the top of the comments, so everyone else can see how much of a shit person you are.
Well, that's a good one. I didn't even think about doing that. I just like ignore them. I don't even care. Like, you know, the people who like I said, the people who comment like these really like kill yourself fur fag type things, or like go on a rant about how much they hate furries and how furries are like a blight on the earth. It's like they're not even, I barely even see them as people. Like, if that's their reasoning skills, if that's the level of intellect they have, then it's like you're an insect.
Yeah. There was one, I think it was on my most popular, it's gone now for some reason. I think the guy deleted his comment. It was on my telephone and Pop-Tarts video. And that got over 1,000, not 1,000, it got over about 400 comments on that, as a reply stream. Because this guy called said, "Fur fag, kill yourself, you scum," or anything like that. Pinned that, and everyone was just basically, you know, telling him, "What are you doing here? You're an absolute fucking moron." And it's just exposing people for being shitty. You don't have to be a shitty person to show people that they are shitty. I mean, there's this one, a friend of mine today sent me a screenshot because they were complaining about some of the things I said in my latest video. I made a couple of trans jokes. I said the N-word in the video. And by the way, it's okay because I have the total consent of Aki, who is black, and I play with Aki. He is a great friend of mine. He encourages us to say the N-word, by the way. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's okay. And he says it more than anyone in the entire fucking planet. And they started complaining that I'd said this stuff, despite the context. By the way, I was saying it was a bad thing. That he was saying it. Yeah, they didn't like that. So basically, I just took a screenshot of what they were saying and posted it on Twitter. Didn't say anything. And then they're like, oh, please remove saying to my friends, please get him to remove the tweet. I've had to change my name so many fucking times. Hang on, let me get the thing, because I have the exact thing. Hold on. Oh, where's she fucking gone?
You know what? It's funny. I kind of do the same thing now that you mention it. When somebody leaves a really like bizarre, nasty comment on one of my YouTube videos, I post it on Twitter because I find that shit kind of funny. Especially if they can like barely speak English. Like that's the best part. Yeah, if they're barely intelligible, but you know that they're like being really hateful, it's that I find that shit hilarious. Like, okay, like if you if you can't type, or I don't even know, like can't speak the language, then don't try to insult people. It just makes you it's just hilarious.
Here's the thing. It was like posted as a picture with like my crew colors and everything like that. It goes, watching Damn Dog Games, and he makes a trans joke. How about you don't, please? And then all the comments below that is like, stopped watching him after a while, after he called Lolitas feminists, which is actually false, by the way. There was a bunch of Lolitas outside of the place where I was having a drink, and one of them happened to look like a witch. And I said, look, that one's a witch, okay. Guaranteed feminist. I didn't say Lolitas were feminists, so that one's been debunked already. And there's like a bunch of other comments saying like, oh, this is why I'm not subscribed. So I took those screenshots and posted them on Twitter, and they've got like over 110 likes now. And then the same person messages one of the people I play with, and she goes, I'm just a minor, also an abuse victim. I'm honestly fine with having him the poster, but I'd really be cool if he just blocked the names out. The comments weren't me criticizing him as a person. I was just criticizing his content. And I'm more happy for him to share my criticisms. Just don't have my name on there. And then she goes on to say, it's like, our names in there. We don't want our names in there because we're legally minors, and I don't want to cause him legal trouble over this. Like,
what the fuck? What does that mean?
What has that got to do with it? What has your fucking age got to do with it? Because I just basically showed people what you said. You know, I didn't actually say anything. The tweet said, I'm doing my job correctly. I'm happy I'm triggering people. That's all I said on the tweet. And yeah, apparently it's enough to spark them, wanting to get legal sort of thing. But what the fuck does minor have to do with anything?
Well, in like modern liberal America anyway, how important you are is determined by like any sort of, it's determined by the progressive stack. So I think being a minor is like an extra, is like bonus points. Definitely being an abuse victim or claiming to be an abuse victim, which everyone is claiming nowadays, which is kind of odd.
Sorry to interrupt, but which is funny because I'm an actual abuse victim. I was abandoned by my mother when I was 10. I was exposed to pornography of my own mother when I was 12. Right? If that's not abuse, I don't know what the fuck is. And she has the nerve to say, "Oh, I'm abused," because I basically showed people what she said. I was so tempted to like message back to her, like, why don't you grow a set of balls? Or since that you're offended at my trans joke, why don't you get the operation to have them stitched on? That's the, I'll go there. But yeah, I don't understand how, being a minor has anything to do with me just showing what you've said. There's like literally nothing they can do.
Well, like I said, it's a way to get bonus points to make them seem like more of a victim. The more of a victim they seem, like the I don't know, more sympathy they get or something.
Yeah, but literally, like, no one is showing them any sympathy whatsoever. They just basically all the people who've replied to it are just basically going, "Oh no, whatever shall we do without them?"
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't really like. When you say something publicly and then people make fun of you for it, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do that, you're harassing me." It's like, No, you need to learn this. You need to learn that when you say something
Yeah.
publicly, people are gonna make fun of you for it, and then you will learn. Maybe don't say those things unless you can handle it, which is the other thing. Like you and I say things,
Yeah.
and we get publicly. I wouldn't even call it harassed, just like
Yeah. But,
people looking. Or I don't even know what to call it.
I
Like,
literally just did. I just took a screenshot and posted it. That's how sad. Oh, fuck's sake. That's how sad it is. It's because they can't even, have people show them like what they're actually saying.
yeah, just can't even repeat back to them what they said without
yeah,
them,
but what
without them having a breakdown.
what's also hilarious
Oh,
is that
God.
they're apparently fine with me showing their criticisms of my work. However, they don't want their names to it. Why would you not want your names to it? Own it. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Gotta own it. I wish that I had like a sense to know which tweets people were gonna delete. 'Cause, people do that a lot because they don't want people to know what they said. They're like, oh, they'll say some shitty thing and
Yeah.
in response to someone, and then people make fun of them and they delete
Yeah.
it. It's like I don't think I've ever deleted a tweet unless I made like spelling errors or
That's
something.
literally what I was just about to say.
Yeah. I wish I had some kind of sense to like know when somebody was going to delete something, so I could take screenshots of those tweets and be like, okay, this is.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, I guess if they delete it, then it's kind of like saying, okay, I made a mistake. I don't know. Maybe.
If they go on and publicly apologize, that's totally fine. I'll remove the tweet if they ask for that. But when they're so adamant and arrogant, I'll happily, roast them for as long as it takes. There was this one girl, that I'll never forget this. Okay, this is great. Okay, there was this girl called Peaches, right? And she was one of these, social justice warriors, like had one of these made up gender, like binary gender. It's like one of this made up bullshit. And she was basically, she unprovoked. She just randomly tweeted at me saying, when is your DJ set at Confuzzled? Just so I can avoid it. Like at first I thought it was someone like having a bit of a joke, and I thought, oh, like that's funny. But no, it turns out they were being particularly serious, and they were quite salty about it. It's like, no, seriously, tell me when it is. I want to know so I can avoid you because you're a shitty person. Which was a bit bizarre why they were doing that, because the schedule was released on the website for some reason, so they thought it was a great idea to tweet at me. So, me being me, I decided to fucking roast the shit out of her. Like one of the tweets was like saying, it's like, look, I understand you're upset about what I'm saying. So what I will do for you is I will buy you this. While I am DJing here, you can stay in this little thing that I've just ordered for you. And I actually ordered it as well. I called it the Safe Space 3000. What do you think of it? And it was a children's playpen with a train set in it. And I literally bought it. And after that, she got so fucking irate that she ended up deleting her Twitter twice. Twice.
Okay.
But she was so fucking stupid. She recreated a Twitter with the exact same name. Like, how dumb do you have to be? And then continues going on. But yeah, that's the last I ever heard that bitch. And then she goes and complains to like one of my friends, like, "Oh, you misgendered me." I'm like, no, you're a fucking woman. Don't be fucking stupid. This binary shit does not exist. It wound us up at the same time, but I had so much fun doing it. It was a bit done. It was a bit dumb, bit of dumb fun. But she made the mistake of taking on me. That's the.
Yeah, I guess I handle things in a different way. Like you said, I usually don't give people like any shit back. I just like you said, I just post their dumb comments and let other people like judge them based on that.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I've ever had to do that though. I did it. I don't know why I did it. I mean, I kind of regret it because I kind of felt bad for her because she was clearly butthurt afterwards, which I do feel bad about. But at the same time, I don't because, well, it was unprovoked. I didn't do anything wrong. And, you know, her excuse was that apparently I laugh at marginalized people. Like,
Okay.
okay,
Well,
when have I
yeah.
ever done that? Can you show me when I've done that? Because I've never
Yeah.
done that ever. But I can't understand some people, you know. But I'll probably never do that again. It was probably like a one-off thing, right? Whenever someone does something stupid, I'll just basically just post a picture of what they say and then just let them tear themselves apart.
Yeah, I got to start doing that more.
Yeah. But that's
Because it's not even, you can't even consider it like harassment or anything. It's just like, okay, here's what you said,
yeah.
people.
So someone said something mean to me on Twitter. Who gives a shit? It's like that whole thing with Milo Yiannopoulos getting banned off Twitter because of what he said to Leslie Jones. People like said he was the instigator of hate around that, which was actually completely true. He made some like little bitchy catty comments saying, "Oh look, there's a hot black dude in the movie," when she's actually a woman. And it was a dumb little tweet, but apparently people like some of the other people just took it way too far and just went and spouted racist stuff to her, which is actually not his fault because he's responsible for what he says, not what 300,000 people say. And they deleted his Twitter, and he basically went on to say, "It was like, look, for the love of God, news networks, do you honestly believe Leslie Jones, a Saturday Night Live performer and a movie star with a big mansion and millions of dollars, is going to care about one person making a silly little tweet crying into her iPhone at night? I don't buy that for 1 second." You know, it's kind of like that in a way.
Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, we're past the hour mark at this point. So, any final little things you want to say before we quit here?
We could end on a positive note, but
Okay.
well, I'm grateful for the furry fandom at the same time. As much as it's got its flaws, I'm grateful for it. You know, it has helped me through a lot as well. Like some of the people in here, like for example, you and two, been like I've only like talked to you like once in the past before, and you're already a cool dude to me. You know, I think that's pretty incredible. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you that you think so highly of me, I guess.
I am a nice, as much as I
like,
come across as a dick on camera, I try to be a nice guy as well. It's just I'm nasty when I need to be. You know, nastiness isn't, you're not a nasty person. It's just, I have a use for it. That's it. I use being nasty as a tool, not a personality trait. I'm actually quite a nice person, I'd like to think.
Yeah, only others can really be the judge of that, I guess. But anyway, so thank you all for coming, and thank you, Corey, for coming as well. Thanks everyone for watching. And I will see you guys next time.
Like and subscribe to Damn Dog Games. Ah!